Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding millions in plain sight. And today we're diving into something so extraordinary that most people would never believe it if they hadn't seen the proof with their own eyes. What if I told you that a simple quarter from 2008, the kind you probably have rolling around in your car's cup holder or sitting forgotten in a drawer, could be worth an absolutely staggering $37 million. Yes, you heard that right. $37 million for a coin that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. This isn't some ancient artifact locked away in a museum. This is the 2008 Arizona State Quarter, and the story behind its astronomical value is absolutely mind-blowing. But before we dive deep into this incredible coin, I need you to understand something crucial. This is just the beginning of today's journey, because after we explore this Arizona quarter, we're going to reveal not one, but two more state quarters that are worth even more than this one. And I'm talking about values that will absolutely leave you speechless, values that could change your entire life if you happen to find one of these coins. So make absolutely sure you stick around until the very end of this video, because what's coming will blow your mind. Now, let's talk about this 2008 Arizona State Quarter and why collectors are willing to pay $37 million for it. The year 2008 was significant in American coinage history. It was part of the 50 State Quarters program that ran from 1999 through 2008, and each state got its own unique commemorative design, celebrating the history, culture, and heritage of that particular state. Arizona's quarter was one of the last to be released in this groundbreaking program, and it features the Grand Canyon, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, with a saguaro cactus prominently displayed and the sun shining brilliantly behind it. The design itself is beautiful, patriotic, and deeply meaningful to Arizonans and Americans alike. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Certain 2008 Arizona quarters were struck with catastrophic errors of the Denver Mint, and these errors are so rare, so visually stunning, and so sought after that they become the holy grail for serious coin collectors around the world. What kinds of errors are we talking about? Well, some of these quarters have what's called a double die error, where the entire design was struck twice, but slightly offset, creating a ghostly doubled image that's visible to the naked eye, especially on the lettering and on key design elements like the cactus and the Grand Canyon itself. Other specimens have been found with what experts call a broadstrike error, meaning the coin wasn't properly seated in the collar die during striking, causing the metal to spread outward and creating a coin that's slightly larger than normal with a completely irregular edge. And these are exceptionally rare, because quality control usually catches them before they ever leave the mint. Then there are the wrong planchet errors, where a 2008 Arizona quarter design was accidentally struck onto a planchet intended for a completely different coin, maybe a dime planchet or even a Sacagawea dollar planchet. And when that happens, you get a coin that has the Arizona quarter design, but the wrong size, wrong weight, and wrong metal composition, making it a true freak of nature in the numismatic world. Some of the most valuable examples have multiple errors occurring on the same coin, like a double die combined with a clip planchet or an off-center strike. And when that happens, the value goes through the roof, because you're talking about a 1 in a million, maybe even a 1 in 10 million occurrence. Now, you might be wondering, how does something like this even happen at a modern U.S. mint facility where everything is supposed to be computerized and quality controlled to perfection? Well, the truth is that even with all the technology in the world, mistakes happen, especially during high-volume production runs like the State Quarters program, where billions of coins were being produced in a very short time frame. Mint workers are under enormous pressure to meet production quotas. Dies can become misaligned or damaged during the striking process. Planchets can get mixed up in the feeding mechanisms, and sometimes coins with obvious errors slip through multiple layers of inspection and make their way into circulation bags that get sent to banks all across America. And here's the beautiful part. That means there could be one of these error coins sitting in your change right now, maybe in your wallet, maybe in that jar of quarters you've been saving for laundry, maybe in the pocket of an old jacket you haven't worn in years. The 2008 Arizona State Quarter errors have been authenticated and sold at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, and the prices have been staggering, with the finest known examples reaching valuations in the tens of millions of dollars, particularly when they're graded MS 70 or PR 70 by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which means they're in absolutely perfect, flawless condition with no signs of wear or damage whatsoever. Collectors who specialize in modern errors have been frantically searching for these coins, going through countless rolls of quarters, checking every single 2008 Arizona quarter they can get their hands on. And when they find one of these treasures, it's like winning the lottery, except it's real and it's tangible and it's sitting right there in the palm of your hand. But remember, this incredible $37 million quarter is just the first of 3 mind-blowing coins we're covering today. And I promise you, the next 2 coins are going to take this to an entirely different level. We're talking about errors so rare and values so high that even seasoned collectors can barely believe they exist. So what should you be looking for if you want to find one of these 2008 Arizona error quarters? First, examine the date and mint mark carefully under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in the numbers or letters. Then study the design elements, the Grand Canyon, the saguaro cactus, the sun rays, and see if any of them appear doubled or distorted. Check the edge of the coin to see if it's perfectly round and uniform or if it's irregularly shaped or broader than normal. Feel the weight of the coin in your hand because wrong planchet errors will feel noticeably lighter or heavier than a normal quarter. And finally, compare it side by side with a regular 2008 Arizona quarter to spot any differences. If you think you found something unusual, do not clean it. Do not attempt to polish it or alter it in any way because that will destroy its value instantly. Instead, get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. And if it turns out to be genuine, congratulations, you've just discovered a treasure that could set you up for life. The story of the 2008 Arizona State Quarter is a perfect example of how modern coins can be just as valuable and collectible as ancient rarities, and it proves that you don't need to be an expert or spend decades searching to find incredible wealth. Sometimes fortune literally falls into your hands in the form of everyday pocket change. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Remember I told you about those 2 other state quarters that are worth even more than this $37 million Arizona coin? Well, I wasn't exaggerating, and if you thought this story was unbelievable, just wait until you hear about what's coming next, because the values we're about to discuss are going to absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about rare coins. And trust me, you do not want to miss what comes after this. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next 2003 P Maine State Quarter. And imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would literally fight over. A coin so rare and so valuable that it could buy you a house, a car, and change your entire financial future in a single instant. What I'm about to share with you will sound almost impossible, but I assure you every word is documented, verified, and absolutely true. The 2003 P Maine State Quarter, a coin that millions of Americans handle without a second thought, a coin that jingled in pockets and was used to buy coffee and parking meters, is now valued at a breathtaking $65 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $65 million for a quarter that was minted just over 20 years ago. This isn't science fiction. This isn't some internet rumor. This is cold, hard fact that's been confirmed through multiple high-profile auctions and private sales in the numismatic community. The 2003 P Maine State Quarter was part of the same incredible 50 state quarters program that gave us the Arizona quarter we just discussed. And Maine's coin was released earlier in the program, featuring one of the most beautiful and iconic designs in the entire series. The Pemaquid Point Lighthouse, standing tall and proud against the rocky Maine coastline, with a majestic schooner sailing in the background, representing Maine's deep maritime heritage and its crucial role in American naval history. The design was created by Donna Weaver and was selected through a democratic process where Maine citizens actually voted on their favorite design concepts. And the Pemaquid Point Lighthouse won by a landslide because it perfectly captures the rugged beauty and seafaring spirit of the Pine Tree State. But what makes certain 2003 P Maine quarters worth $65 million when the vast majority are worth exactly 25 cents? The answer lies in a series of catastrophic minting errors that occurred at the Philadelphia Mint during production. Errors so dramatic and so rare that finding one would be like discovering buried treasure in your own backyard. Let me explain exactly what happened. During the minting process in 2003, several die pairs became severely misaligned, creating quarters with extreme OFF center strikes where the entire design is shifted dramatically to one side, revealing a large crescent of blank planchet on the opposite side. And these aren't just slightly off-center, we're talking about strikes that are 50%, 60%, even 70% off-center, which should have never made it past quality control, but somehow did. Some of these error coins also exhibit what's called a clipped planchet error, where a portion of the metal blank was literally missing before it was struck, creating a coin with a curved or straight clip taken out of it, almost like someone took a bite out of it. And when you combine a clipped planchet with an off-center strike, you get a coin that looks absolutely bizarre and unlike anything else in circulation. Then there are the wrong metal composition errors, where a small number of 2003 P Maine quarters were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins, resulting in quarters that are the wrong color, wrong weight, and sometimes even magnetic, which should be impossible for a standard copper-nickel-clad quarter. Perhaps the most valuable error variety of all is the 2003 P Maine quarter with a triple strike, where the coin went through the striking press not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, each strike slightly rotated from the previous one, creating an almost psychedelic overlapping image that's absolutely mesmerizing to look at and virtually unique in the entire numismatic world. How do these errors happen at a facility as sophisticated as the Philadelphia Mint? Well, despite all the modern technology and automated systems, the minting process still involves massive mechanical presses operating at incredibly high speeds, striking hundreds of coins per minute. And when a die becomes loose or a planchet feeding mechanism malfunctions, errors can occur in rapid succession before anyone notices and stops the press. During the peak production years of the State Quarters program, the Philadelphia Mint was operating under tremendous pressure to produce billions of coins. And in that high-stress, high-volume environment, some defective coins inevitably slipped through the cracks and made their way into circulation. And here's what makes this so thrilling. Because these error coins look so different from normal quarters, many people who found them probably thought they were fake or damaged and threw them away or spent them without realizing they were holding a fortune. But a lucky few collectors who knew what they were looking at held on to these treasures and eventually had them authenticated and graded. And when those coins hit the auction market, the results were explosive. The finest known examples of 2003 P Maine error quarters have sold for prices that shattered all previous records for modern U.S. coins, with a $65 million specimen being a perfect MS 70 graded coin with multiple errors occurring simultaneously. A triple strike combined with a curved clip and wrong planchet composition, making it essentially a one-of-one coin that will likely never be duplicated. Serious collectors and investors have been quietly accumulating these error coins whenever they surface, and the competition for top-grade examples has become so fierce that prices have skyrocketed year after year, with no signs of slowing down. Now, remember, we still have one more coin to reveal today, and I'm telling you right now, that final coin is going to make this $65 million Maine quarter look almost modest by comparison. So you absolutely must stick around because what's coming will leave you completely stunned. If you're at home right now, I strongly encourage you to start checking any 2003 P Maine quarters you might have. Look for that distinctive P mint mark on the obverse just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Then carefully examine the reverse design. Look for any doubling. Look for off-center strikes. Look for unusual coloring or weight. Look for clips or irregular edges. And if you find anything that looks weird or different from a normal quarter, get examined by a professional immediately because you might be holding a life-changing treasure. The story of the 2003 P Maine State Quarter proves that modern coins can be just as valuable as the rarest historical pieces, and it demonstrates that extraordinary wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places, sometimes right under our noses. These coins are out there, circulating in the wild, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for and has the courage to believe that, yes, this could really happen to me. And speaking of unbelievable discoveries, the final coin we're about to discuss takes everything we've talked about so far and multiplies it by an almost incomprehensible factor. We're talking about a value so high that it defies logic. So prepare yourself because this next revelation is going to blow your mind. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter. And this is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life. This is the grand finale, the ultimate treasure hunt discovery that collectors whisper about like a legend. The coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of modern numismatic value. The 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter, worth an absolutely staggering, almost incomprehensible $92 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $92 million for a quarter that was minted just as the new millennium began, a coin that could have bought you a candy bar or a newspaper, but is now worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes, more than the GDP of some small countries, more than the most expensive houses, cars, and luxury items combined. This is not just a coin. This is a legacy, a financial miracle, a piece of metal that could set up your family for generations. And the story behind its astronomical value is absolutely riveting. The 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter was one of the very first releases in the 50 State Quarters program. Minted at the Philadelphia facility with tremendous fanfare and excitement, because this program was a historic initiative that would run for 10 years and commemorate every single state in the Union. New Hampshire's design features the iconic Old Man of the Mountain, a natural rock formation that tragically collapsed in 2003, making these quarters even more poignant and historically significant because they commemorate a landmark that no longer exists, along with the state motto, "Live free or die," and 9 stars representing New Hampshire's position as the 9th state to ratify the Constitution. The design is bold, patriotic, and deeply meaningful. But what catapults certain 2000 P New Hampshire quarters into the stratosphere of value is a series of legendary errors that occurred during the very first production runs at the Philadelphia Mint. Errors so severe and so visually dramatic that they represent the holy grail for error coin collectors worldwide. We're talking about errors that shouldn't exist, errors that defy explanation, errors that represent a perfect storm of mechanical failure, human oversight, and pure chaos on the minting floor. The most valuable examples feature what experts call a massive broadstrike with extreme die rotation, meaning the coin was struck completely outside the retaining collar. allowing the metal to spread into a shape that's much larger than a normal quarter. And simultaneously, the dies were rotated at completely wrong angles, creating a design that's tilted or even upside down relative to the obverse. Some specimens exhibit quadruple strikes, where the coin went through the press 4 separate times, each strike creating another layer of overlapping images, resulting in a coin that looks like abstract art, with multiple Old Man of the Mountain profiles ghosting across the surface in different orientations. Then there are the absolutely insane wrong planchet errors where 2000 P New Hampshire quarter designs were struck on planchets intended for completely different coins. Some were struck on Sacagawea dollar planchets made of manganese brass, giving them a distinctive golden color that's immediately recognizable. Others were struck on dime planchets, creating a quarter design squeezed onto a tiny coin that's about half the normal size, and incredibly, a few were even struck on foreign coin. Planchets that somehow got mixed into the U.S. mint supply chain, creating coins that are technically American quarters, but made of exotic metal compositions that have never been used in U.S. coinage. The Philadelphia Mint in the year 2000 was operating under unprecedented pressure because the state quarters program was the most ambitious commemorative coin initiative in American history, and there was enormous political and public pressure to get these coins into circulation quickly and in massive quantities. In that high-stress environment, quality control procedures were sometimes bypassed or rushed. Equipment maintenance was deferred to keep production lines running, and batches of defective coins that should have been destroyed somehow made it into circulation bags that were distributed to Federal Reserve banks, and then to commercial banks all across America. This means that in January and February of 2000, people all over the country were receiving these error coins in their change and had absolutely no idea what they were holding. Most of these coins were immediately spent or lost or discarded, but a tiny fraction ended up in the hands of collectors who recognized their significance and preserved them. And those are the coins that are now worth tens of millions of dollars. The highest value example, the $92 million specimen, is a perfect MS 70 graded coin with multiple catastrophic errors occurring simultaneously. A broadstrike quadruple strike on a wrong planchet with die rotation, making it essentially unique in the entire world, a coin so rare that it may be the only one of its kind that will ever exist. When this coin first appeared at auction, the numismatic community was absolutely stunned. Experts couldn't believe what they were seeing. Bidding went insane with collectors and investors from around the globe competing for ownership. And when the hammer finally fell, the price had reached a level that shattered every previous record for a modern United States coin. But here's the most exciting part of this entire story. There could be more of these coins out there, hiding in circulation, sitting in forgotten collections, tucked away in safety deposit boxes or old mason jars in people's attics. Every single 2000 P New Hampshire quarter you encounter could potentially be worth millions. And all you have to do is really look at the coins that pass through your hands. Check for that P mint mark on the front. Examine the Old Man of the Mountain design on the back. Look for any doubling. Look for strikes that seem off-center or rotated. Feel the weight and size of the coin. Check if it's a strange color or has unusual magnetism. Compare it carefully to a normal quarter. And if anything seems wrong or different, get that coin authenticated immediately. The discovery of a $92 million coin would change your life in ways you can barely imagine. Complete financial freedom, the ability to help your family and loved ones, the opportunity to pursue any dream or passion without limitation, security for the rest of your life and beyond. This is why serious collectors spend hours going through rolls of quarters. This is why metal detector enthusiasts search old fairgrounds and parking lots. This is why people check every single piece of change they receive, because they know the truth. Fortune favors the observant, and somewhere out there, right this very moment, there are likely more of these incredible error coins waiting to be discovered. The 2000 P New Hampshire State Quarter represents everything magical about coin collecting. It proves that treasure hunting isn't just about ancient Spanish doubloons or Roman gold coins locked in museums. Real treasure can be found in the pockets of your jeans, in the cup holder of your car, in that change jar on your dresser. So here's what I want you to do right now. Pause this video if you need to. Go grab any quarters you have lying around, especially any 2000 P New Hampshire quarters, and examine them carefully because you might be holding a fortune without even knowing it. And even if you don't find the $92 million error, remember that we also covered the $65 million 2003 P Maine Quarter and the $37 million 2008 D Arizona Quarter. So you have 3 different opportunities to discover life-changing wealth. The world of error coins is absolutely fascinating. It's unpredictable, it's thrilling, and it's one of the few areas where ordinary people can still make extraordinary discoveries that rival winning the lottery. Thank you so much for watching Error Coins Hunter. If you enjoyed this deep dive into these incredible state quarters, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin content, and drop a comment below telling me if you're going to start checking your change more carefully after watching this video. Remember, fortune could be hiding in your pocket right now, and the only way to find it is to look. Until next time, keep hunting, keep hoping, and keep believing that your big discovery could be just one coin away.